When you hear the word meditation, what's the first image that pops into your head? For most of us, right, it's probably someone sitting perfectly still, totally serene, maybe even floating on a cloud of bliss. But what if I told you that very image, that idea of perfect calm, is actually the biggest thing stopping you from ever even trying? I mean, these are the promises we see everywhere, aren't they? In commercials, all over social media, even on the meditation apps themselves. The whole idea is that you just sit down for 10 minutes and poof, you achieve this state of total, thought-free tranquility. And hey, it's a really attractive promise. Who wouldn't want that? But here's the real kicker. The question we're going to dig into. What if that perfect picture, that promise of a blank mind, is the very thing that makes most people feel like they're failing before they've even really started? Yeah, so let's unpack this popular meditation myth, because this image that pop culture sells us, well, it sets an absolutely impossible standard. And it is hands down the number one reason why so many people try meditation once or twice, decide they're just bad at it, and then quit for good. Just think about it for a second. You decide to give it a shot. You sit down, you close your eyes, and you expect silence. But what happens instead? Your brain just goes a mile a minute, right? You get a flood of thoughts. Your grocery list, that dumb thing you said at work, that song that's been stuck in your head all day. And your immediate thought is, oh man, I'm doing this wrong. My mind is just too busy for this. That feeling of failure is almost universal. But here's the secret. It's based on a total misunderstanding of what you're supposed to be doing. So this brings us to the most important shift in perspective you can possibly have. If the goal isn't to get a blank mind, then what in the world is it? This right here is the key that unlocks the whole practice. And boom, this slide just lays it all out. It's the big aha moment. The popular goal, the myth, is to empty your mind, to fight your thoughts, to push them away. But the actual practice, it's simply to notice your mind. It's a huge shift from trying to control your thoughts to just observing them without getting all tangled up in them. I love this metaphor. Your mind wandering off isn't a sign that you failed. It's the opportunity to do a rep. Think of it like a bicep curl for your brain. Every single time you notice your mind has drifted off and you gently guide it back, that's the exercise. The thoughts themselves, they aren't the problem. They're the gym equipment you're training with. And this is the classic no-nonsense definition from Jon Kabat-Zinn, one of the guys who really helped bring secular mindfulness into the mainstream. Just look at the words here: paying attention, on purpose, non-judgmentally. Now notice what's missing? There is zero mention of stopping thoughts, feeling blissful, or achieving some perfect empty state. The entire practice is simply about the quality of your attention. That's it. Okay, building on that, let's just quickly knock down two other really big myths. This idea that meditation is just a way to escape from reality and that you have to be religious to do it. You know, a lot of people think meditation is about checking out, right? Zoning out to escape discomfort. But real, authentic practice is the exact opposite. It's about learning to sit with your restlessness, your boredom, your anxiety. You're not running away from life's problems. You're actually training your resilience to face them head on with a bit more clarity. And if you still think it's just some woo-woo spiritual thing, just take a look at who's using it. We're talking the US Marine Corps for resilience, Google for employee performance, the British Parliament for youth mental health, thousands of hospitals for patient well-being. These aren't religious groups. These are super practical, results-driven institutions using meditation as a trainable skill for its very real, measurable benefits. And this isn't just about what feels good, it's backed by some serious science. There was this huge study back in 2014 in a major medical journal, and what it found was pretty mind-blowing. For treating things like anxiety and depression, mindfulness meditation was often just as effective as antidepressants, but with fewer side effects. This isn't about belief anymore. We're talking about observable, biological changes in the brain. Okay, so we've torn down the myths. We've looked at the science. Let's get down to brass tacks. What do you actually do when you sit down to meditate? It is so much simpler than you think. This is it. This is the whole game, right here in 4 steps. 1, you pick something to focus on, usually your breath. 2, you notice when your mind has wandered off. And it will wander. That's a guarantee. That's not a bug, it's a feature. 3, and this is the most important part, you gently, without beating yourself up about it, guide your attention back. And 4, you just repeat that over and over. The magic isn't in staying focused. The magic is in the gentle return. And here's maybe the best part. You do not need to sit for an hour. Science shows that doing those little mental push-ups we talked about consistently for just 5 or 10 minutes a day,
That's enough to physically rewire your brain. I'm talking about measurable changes, like strengthening the part of your brain that handles focus and decision-making, and calming down your brain's little fear and stress alarm.
So if the goal isn't instant bliss or a perfectly quiet mind, what's the actual payoff here? What are the real practical benefits that come from this simple but not always easy practice of just coming back again and again? This right here might be the biggest reward of all. Normally, something happens, you get a stressful email, someone cuts you off in traffic, and bam, there's an automatic reaction. Meditation starts to build this tiny little gap, a pause, between that trigger and your response. And in that little space, you find freedom. You find the ability to choose how you want to respond instead of just being hijacked by your old habits.
And let's be crystal clear, meditation will not make your problems disappear. It won't pay your bills or fix a tough relationship. What it can do, though, is fundamentally change how you relate to those problems. So instead of being completely swallowed up by your anxiety, you can learn to see it as just one part of your experience. And that shift in perspective, that's a kind of freedom. So in the end, this practice isn't about escaping the beautiful mass of being human. It's about learning how to engage with it more deeply, more fully. It's about learning to be present for your own life, the good, the bad, all of it, with a little more awareness and maybe even a little more kindness toward yourself.
So I'll just leave you with this final thought to chew on. Forget about trying to shut your mind up. What if the real journey, the real goal, is to sit down, listen patiently, and for the first time in your life, actually start to understand what it's trying to tell you?